Beautiful proverbs, beautiful, beautiful. You love them. Live and learn by me. Do not measure the tail of a live wolf. Do not place an obstacle before a blind person. Do not pour out your dirty water ere you have clean water. Do not put all your cheese into one fritter. Do not say, I'll study when I'm free. You may never be free. Also say not when I have leisure. I'll study perchance. You may not have leisure. Do not side with the majority to do wrong. Do not swallow poison before you know, because you know an antidote. Don't approach a goat from the front, a horse from the back, a fool from any side. Don't bargain when you don't have the money. Don't be choleric and you shall not sin. Don't be too sweet lest you be eaten up. Don't be too bitter lest you be spewed out. Don't enter the forest if you fear leaves. Don't follow the majority in the wrong path, because the majority are not always right. Don't cut your fish till you get them. Don't live in a town where there are no doctors. Don't make a fence more expensive or more important than what it is fencing. Don't make a toil of pleasure. Don't put all your money in one corner. Don't shame an oldster, for you will be counted among them. Don't spit into the well, you might drink from it later. Don't throw out an old friend for a new one. Don't withhold the good where it is due, if it is in your power to do it. And drive your horse with oats, not with a whip. Dying men speak true. Each child brings his own blessing into the world, presumably. Eat to live at least. A full sack stands upright. Even butter and honey make you sick in time. Even in this world, one can taste the joy of paradise. Even the most expensive clock is still shows 60 minutes of every hour, when the weather bureau is sometimes right. Every man knows that he must die, but no one believes it. Everything should be done within reason. Experience is the mother of wisdom. Experience is what we call the accumulation of our mistakes. Faith is not a whole series of axioms, but a whole way of life. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and morality. First learn and then teach. First learn and then form opinion. First mend yourself and then mend others. Flattery sits in the parlor when plain dealing is kicked out of doors. Folly is a joy only to a person lacking in understanding. Fools love to eat the wrong sorts of sweets. For the benefit of the flowers, we water the thorns too. For the wise, old age is a harvest season. From the foolish judge, a quick sentence. From death, one cannot hide. From one who has inherited, not from one for whom men plunder. From the black earth, there grows the finest grain. Generations come and go, but controversy lasts. Gentle speech increases the number of friends. Gluttony has killed more people than famine has. God could not be everywhere, and therefore he made mothers, but created man in his own image. God is a father. Luck is the stepfather. Good manners often supersede learning. Habits are the first copies, and at last cables. Happiness is found in the heart. Happiness is more than gold. Happiness is she who conducts herself honorably. Having gone into the city conformed to its laws, he is at ease who has enough. He that goes for wool may chance to come home shorn. He that knows nothing doubts nothing. He that sows with thistles shall reap prickles. He who changes his location changes his luck. He who comes first grinds first. He who flatters you is your enemy. Who rebukes you is your friend. He who has a certain nature will not sell it. He who knows he's a fool is not a good fool. He who marries for money earns it. He who puts up with insult invites injury. He who sits at home does not tear any boots. Heavy purses and light hearts can sustain much. He's got to learn how to shave another's beard. How lovely is the sun after rain, and how lovely is the laughter after sorrow. Humor is an important asset. It means understanding and self-criticism. Where humor is absent, you will find small mindfulness. I can chew for you, my child, but you must swallow by yourself. I felt sorry for myself because I had no shoes until I met the man who had no feet. I learned much from my teachers, more from my friends, and most from my pupils. Eat your fill before you get children. Idleness causes much mischief. If a Jew cannot be a shoemaker, he will dream of being a professor. If a link is broken, the whole chain breaks. If one link has broken, so has the whole chain. If charity costs nothing, the world could be full of philanthropists. If I'm not for myself, who will be? If it must always be better, it can never be good enough. If the arrow maker is killed by his arrow, he is paid out of his own work. If the creator wills it, the broom can shoot a bullet. If the grandmother had a heart, she would be a grandfather. And the house has fallen, woe to the windows. If the pupil is smart, teacher gets the credit. If the wheat of the city be ryegrass, sow of it. If there's a fire at your neighbors, you too are in danger. If you build your abundance of sins, make bundles of good deeds. Wow, beautiful, right? Amazing, nice, love it. Wow. La 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 la. If you examine carefully, everything is tariff. Yiddish word for food that is not conform with Jewish religion, dietary laws. If you lack wisdom, what you have got? If you have got wisdom, what do you lack? If you lie on the ground, you cannot fall. If you stay at home, you won't wear out your shoes. If you steal from a thief, you also have to test of it. If you want to know what God thinks of money, look at the people He gives it to. It is your son-in-law. It's good. You have gained a son. If he's bad, you have lost a daughter. I have in a large river, large fish swim. In every generation, there's more knowledge of philosophy and new wisdoms arise. Thus, new illnesses are added to every generation. In an hour a man dies, the law and his good works accompany him. It is good tongue that says no ill. It is great point of wisdom to find out one's own folly. It is best not to live in the city run by scholars. It is better to eat vegetables and fear no creditors than to eat duck and hide from them. It is good to draw the snake out of the hole with another's hand. It is not every question that deserves an answer. It's not the beard that makes the philosopher. It is too late to call back yesterday. It's better to talk to a woman than stop living. It is easier to be a critic than an author. It's good to hope. It's the waiting that spoils it. It's not as good with money as it is bad without it. Jealousy has teeth made of iron. Judge every person with the benefit of doubt. Justice shall be you pursue. Know where you came from, where you're going, and who you are about to give account and recording in front of. Learning is better than goods. Lend your money and lose your friend. Life is mystery began together. Love speaks even when the lips are closed. Love, which depends on something, when the thing ceases, the love ceases. Love work, loathe mastery over others and avoid intimacy with the government. Love work and hate lordship and make not thyself known to the government. Luck is better than wisdom. Luck makes you wise, luck makes you wealthy. Lust easily leads to love. Make no more hence than good speed. Make room for more than you. Man lives in hope. Man sees the mote in his neighbor's eye, but does not know of the beam in his own. Mind your own business. Misfortune tells us what fortune is. Money rules the world. Money will buy you everything but good sense. Morality and business are essentially the same. My father planted for me and I planted for my children. My pen is the harp. Is my harp my lyre? My library is my garden, my orchard. My son, do as much good as you can. Remember, there is no joy in the nether world. Never be weary of doing good. Never cry hollow till you're out of the woods. Never make a promise you cannot keep. Never mention rope in the house of a man who has been hanged. Never too late to learn. Never trust people who tell you all the troubles but keep you from you all their joys. Never waste good agony. 9 rabbis can't make a minion, but 10 cobblers, yes. No individual can be whole without some link to the past. No one shoe fits every foot. No person is too old to learn. No rose without a thorn. No use crying over split milk. None is as deaf as a man who will not listen. Not everyone who is happy today will be happy tomorrow. Not everyone will, with a good memory, is intelligent. Old people often survive the young. One beggar cannot be at 2 fairs. One cannot dig well with a needle. One has fear in front of a goat, in back of a mule, and on every side of a fool. One light begets another. One match can set a fire to a whole city. One of the life's greatest mysteries is how the boy who wasn't good enough to marry your daughter will be a father of the smartest grandchild in the world. One person's candle furnishes light for many. One should not lend a cat to deliver grain. One who bears false witness against his friends deserves to be thrown to the dogs. One who has a reputation of an early riser must safely lie abed until noon. One's handwriting delineates his intelligence. Opinions are scanty, but differences of opinions abound. Paradise exists everywhere for a true believer. Partnership is good only with your wife, and there are those who say that this too is not certain. Peace will not rise by force. Perfection in any bed is very rare. Play the flute of noble men. Poverty and old age often travel together. Praise a fair day at night. Prepare your proof before you are. You pretended holiness is double iniquity. Prevention is better than cure. Pride can live in the dung trap. Provide for the worst, the best can take care of itself. Punishment of the sinner should not be seen as revenge. Real success is success of the soul. Reflection ensures safety, but rashness is followed by regret. Regard not the flask, but what is in it. There is a new flask with a full old wine, and an old one in which there is not even new wine. Rejoice not at every enemy's falls, but don't rush to pick him up either. Say little and do much. Say well and be still. Scholars expand peace in the mind, scratching and lending help only for a while. Sell the holy scrolls in the synagogue to give a poor girl dowry. Should the caste totter, its name is still castle. And should the dunghill be raised, its name is still dunghill. Should there be a case of hanging in someone's family record, and say not to him, hang up this fish. Silence is offense, round wisdom. Sin crouches at every door. Slander is was an idolatry. Small children stamp on your lamp, big ones on your heart. Some then dance must pay the fiddler. Some whispered words I heard afar. Someone else's worries won't take away your sleep. Sometimes a penny is better spent than saved. Sometimes even a liar will speak the truth. Sometimes it's worthwhile for a wise man to play the role of a fool. Sometimes people admit their mistakes to mask their crimes. Strike while the iron is hot. Study today and don't delay. Stupid solutions will succeed as still stupid solutions. Sympathy doesn't provide food, but it makes hunger more endurable. Tell nothing to your friend, but that your enemy do not know. The beard does not make the philosopher. The bigger thief is he who steals people's minds. The birds in the air despise the miser. A common soldier do the fighting, and officers claim the victory. Costly's clock can only show 16 minutes in every hour. The crime itself is a punishment for crime. The devil lurks behind the cross. Dog follows you for the crumbs in your pocket. The friar preached against stealing and had a goose in his sleeve. The glory of young men is their strength. The greatest wisdom is that a person should not be overwise. The heart is small, embraces the whole wide world. The heart of a man may be compared to a sausage. Few know exactly what's inside it. The innkeeper loves a drunkard, but not for a son-in-law. The masters are no asses. The merchant's way is first to show you the junk and then the good stuff. The old lack enthusiasm, the young lack shrewdness. The pearl is found in mouth. The place does not honor the man, is the man who gives honor to the place. The righteous say little and do much. Rabbitry of scholars advances science. The soldiers fight and the kings are heroes. The soul cannot be spat out. The sun will set without your assistance. The talk of the child is straight in that of his father, of his mother. And the thief on the point of breaking into a house calls for God for help. And the thief who finds no opportunity to steal considers himself an honest man. The tongue has no bone, yet it crushes. The true rich enjoy what they have. The truth is not always what we hear. The weeping of an heel is laughter under a mask. The wine belongs to the master, but the waiter receives the thanks. The wise man conceals his intelligence. The fool displays his foolishness. The world exists for the sake of kindness. The world is wrong to no man. The world resembles a collapsing bridge. There's a lot of wise cures for slanderers. One of them is to get and stick to material that brings an accurate, fairly gained picture and take pains to be precise to that purpose. There are many academic chairs, but few outstanding teachers. There's no jasmine in nature. There's no place at like home. There's no time like present. The seldom and occasion to light your lamp is antidote. There's time to throw in the time to gather stone. Through Kamsa and Bar Kamsa and the temple destroyed. Time and chance happen to everyone. Time enough to be well, your misfortune when it is here. To be conscious that you are ignorant is a great step to knowledge. Tradition must be a springboard to the future, not an easy jet for resting. Trees were created for mankind's companionship. Truth is a tree of life, you should eat from it all your life. Truth is heavy, therefore few care to carry it. Use your noble ways today, tomorrow it may break. We are too soon old and too late wise. We do not even get debt free of charge, for it costs us a life. Weak walls in mice a burglar, well-known things do not need proof. What cannot be cured must be endured. What is the use of spurs when you cannot ride? When you want what one wants, one doesn't have. What you gave for charity while you are in health is gold. What you give after death is lead. What's done is done. When a fool is sent to market, all the merchants are happy. When a habit begins to cost money, it's called a hobby. When a pauper eats a chicken, either he's ill or the chicken pox. When a thief has no opportunity for stealing, he considers himself an honest man. When brains are needed, brawn won't help. When he was a puppy, I fed him. When he became a dog, he bite me. When luck comes, offer him a chair. When one hand is broken, two are broken. A reminder of possible interconnections, as in a loom and a network. When one guest brings an uninvited guest, that is improper. When scaffolds drink, goes in, judgments go out. When someone claims an inheritance, he sometimes has to pay for the funeral. When swindlers meet a genuinely honest man, they are so astonished they regard him as the greatest swindler than themselves. When the ox falls, they sharpen their knives. When an ox is down, many other butchers. When two divorced people marry, four people get in bed. When wood is chopped, splinters fall. When you have no choice, mobilize the spirit of courage. When your daughter matures, marry her off. When your enemy falls, don't rejoice overtly. Where many who know grass will grow. Where there's too much, something is missing. Wherever I say there is the front. Wherever there's secret smell, if something is wrong. Whether a person be Jew or Gentile, according to this act, is the divine spirit rests upon him. While the fire is burning, slice your pumpkin and roast it. He who finds a faithful friend finds a treasure. He who has eaten of the pot knows the taste of the broth. Who sits on the ground fears no fall. Who slanders others for what they are innocent of will be damned of for his own guilt. Who spends before he thrives will beg before he thinks. Whoever enjoys his life is doing the Creator's will. Whoever enjoys his life is doing the Creator's will. Whoever is crying and for the past is praying in vain. Wine banishes fear, says Solomon. Wisdom by itself does not pay for the groceries. Wisdom does not always buy years. Goes not always by years. Wisdom is a very great pedigree. Wisdom is more precious than jewels. Wisdom is more precious than pearls. With money in your pocket, you are wise, handsome, and you sink well too. With much wealth comes many worries, and easily, unless you are smart at handling such things and with what each brings. With wisdom alone, you cannot go to market. Without sound family life, no nation can be built. Woe to him who is hated by all, and to him who is loved by all. What should be weighed and not only counted? What should be weighed, not counted? What make life sweet? What is good out better than with soup than without? Ye wise, be guarded in your words. Your friend also has a friend, and be wary of telling your secrets even to your friends. Life is not as good with money as it is bad without it. Adam was the first looking man, as he had no mother-in-law. If a problem can be solved with money, then it's not a problem but a cause. God gave man 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen more and talk less. May God protect you from bad people and save you from good ones. Any Jew knows what's better. God cannot be everywhere at once, so he created mothers. Be not sweet, or else you'll be eaten. Be not bitter, or else you'll be spat out. Fear a goat in front of you, a horse behind you, and a fool all around. A guest in a feast starts speaking on the 3rd day. Knowledge does not take much space. Better a Jew without a beard than a beard without you. Man should live at least for curiosity. A deaf man heard a dumb man recount what that a blind man saw a lame one run very fast. God protect the poor at least for expensive sins. If charity was worth nothing, everyone would be philanthropists. When an old man marries, she becomes a young wife. Parents teach their children to talk. Children teach their parents silence. All people are good from far. Eggs may be much cleverer than chickens, but they go rotten too quickly. Keeping good silence is harder than talking good. A bad partner is worse than rain. The latter makes you go home, while the former makes you go outside. The world will not disappear because there are many people, but because there are too many non people. God help me rise to my feet and fall is what I can do myself. And life doesn't change for better, wait, it will change for the worse. However sweet love may be, you can't make a stew out of it. When people have nothing to do, they take up great days. Choosing between two evils, a pessimist picks both. Everyone complains about a lack of money, but none complains about lack of brains. Who doesn't have children brings them up best. It's better to die of laughter than of fear. Experience is the word people use to call their mistakes. Being grey of hair means you are simply old, not wise. Growing old, man's sight worsens with his art. But this allows him to see more. Funny Jewish and Yiddish sayings. Ask about your neighbor, then buy the house. Don't live in a town where there are no doctors. If God lived on earth, people would break his windows. If the rich could hire the poor to die for them, the poor would make a very nice living. He has more in his head than in his pocket. Rejoice not at a time enemies fall, but don't rush to pick him up either. If you sleep with dogs, you get up with fleas. Man plans, God laughs. A black hen can lay a white egg. Don't give me the honey and spare me the sting. Even a bear can be got to dance. Dress up a broom and it will look nice too. If a girl can dance, she says the musicians can't play. If he were twice as smart, he would be an idiot. All that is butter that comes from a cow, not butter. Thieves and lovers like the dark in meditating on whether the flea has a belly button. Her hat is fine, but the head is too small. With horses, you check the teeth. With a human, you check the brains. They are both in love, he with himself and she with herself. You can't sit on two horses with one behind. Worries go down better with soup than without. Rejoice not as thine enemies fall, but don't rush to pick them up either. Wise proverbs. A bird that you see free may be caught again, but a word that escapes your lips will not return. A mother understands what a child does not say. A pessimist confronted with two but choices chooses both. As he thinks in his heart, so he is. As you teach, you learn. Do not be wise in words, be wise in deeds. Don't be sweet, lest you be eaten up. Don't be bitter, lest you be spewed out. Don't look for more honor. Then your learning matters. First mend yourself and then mend others. He that can't endure the bad will not live to see the good. If charity goes nothing, the world would be full of philanthropists. If not for fear, sin would be sweet. Make sure to be in both the equals. If you are you falling out with your superiors, not to have felt pain is not to have been human. What you don't see with your eyes, don't invent with your mouth. Funny quotes about Jews. Anytime a person goes into a delicatessen and orders a pastrami on white bread, somewhere a Jew dies. Jesus was a Jew, yes, but only on his mother's side. America is a place where Jewish merchants sell Zen lamb beads to agnostics for Christmas. A car hit a Jewish man. Paramedic said, "Are you comfortable?" The man says, "I make good living." Popular Yiddish words. Children hearken to the discipline of a father and listen to no understanding. For I gave you good teaching, forsake not my instruction. For I was sent to my father a tender one and an only one before my mother. As he instructed me and said to me, make your heart draw near to my words, keep my commandments and live. Acquire wisdom, acquire understanding, do not forget and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake her and she will preserve you. Love her and she will guard you. The beginning of wisdom is to acquire wisdom, and with all your possession acquire understanding. Search for her and she will exalt you. She will honor you when you impress her. She will give you the head a wreath of grace, she will transmit to you a crown of glory. Hearken, my son, and take my word, and the years of life will increase for you. In the way of wisdom I instructed you, I led you in the path of uprightness. When you walk, your step will not be straitened, and if you run, you will not stumble. Take fast hold of discipline, do not let it loose, guard it, for it is your life. You should not come in the way of a wicked, and do not walk in the way of the evil. Avoid it, do not pass through it, turn away from it and pass, for they will not sleep if they do not commit evil, and their sleep will be robbed away if they do not cause stumbling. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and they drink the wine of violence. But the way of the righteousness is like the law of dawn. It shines ever brighter until the day is perfect. The way of the wicked is like the pitch darkness. They do not know on what they stumble. My son, hearken to my voice, incline your ears to my sayings. Let them don't depart from your eyes, guard them within your heart. For they are life for those who find them, and for all his flesh is healing. For every interdict, guard your heart, for the issues of life of the faith. Take crooked speech away from yourself, and put devious lips far away from you. Let your eyes look forward, and let your eyelids look straight ahead of you. Weigh the path of your feet, and all your ways will be established. Turn neither to the right nor left. Keep your feet from evil. Never say you are on the last row. The leaden skies, high days of blue, our long for harbor will come. Our steps will be dumb beat. We are here. The last verse was a bit of a shock to a piece. A writer's history, there are no coincidences. A righteous man falls down 7 times and gets up. If you don't know what you are living for, you haven't yet lived. I don't want your followers who are righteous. Rather, I want followers who are too busy doing good that they won't have time to do bad. You're smart, but you're not so smart. If I am because you are you, and you are you because I am I, then I'm not I and you are not you. But if I am I because I am I, and you are you because you are you, then I am I and you are you. Beautiful. A self-definition that's based on this perspective is true and deceptive. This too is for good. I don't speak because I have the power to speak. I speak because I don't have the power to remain silent. The quote embodies the depth of love every Jew needs to feel for another. The connection between Jews is instinctive. Therefore, one has no choice but to speak, caring for others. Jews cut to the core of who we are as a people, and we need to reach a point that is so deep that it's impossible not to say or do something. People often avoid making decisions out of fear of making mistakes. Actually, the failure to make a decision is only one of the life's biggest mistakes. There are 2 things that are infinite, the universe and man's stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. If you want to meet a princess, make yourself into a prince. There are no problems, only opportunities for growth. If I'm not for me, who's for me? And if I'm only for myself, who am I? And if not now, when? Who's wise? One who learns from every man. Who's strong? One who overpowers his inclination. Who's rich? One who's satisfied with his lot. Who's honorable? One who honors his fellow. Torah is not education, it's transformation. The salvation of God is like the blink of an eye. According to the effort is the reward. If you're not a better person tomorrow than you are today, we need to have you for tomorrow. What need to have you for tomorrow? Who gains wealth but not of pride will lose in its prime. The pointed proverb is like a diamond. It sends out light and it also cuts. Ignorance is swiftly contagious. Keeping you well is a business of medicine. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop questioning. The wise of heart will heed commandments. What do you call the grandchildren of intermarried Jews, Christians? You will never find a better sparring partner than adversity. The meaning of life is that it stops. Every Jew has the right to immigrate to Israel. No man is wise unless he possesses 3 qualities. Never to scorn one less learned who seeks wisdom, never to envy someone who's richer, and never to accept a fee for his learning. No man can enjoy full happiness save with his wife and children. There are two kinds of speakers, one that we know in advance all that he's going to say, and the other that even after he finishes his speech, one does not know what he said. What is hateful to thee? Never do to thy fellow man what is the entire Torah, all the rest is commentary. Drink, but not of wine, that is a man in his youth. Who has won wisdom has won everything. Knowledge is as good as curiosity, as currency. Gladness of heart is the life of the man, and his joyness, it lengthens his days. The finest quality of man is asking a question. A good dream is a good gift. A time for what? Time for peace. You have got to take the bitter with the soul. Truth rests with God alone, and a little bit with me. He piles up riches and knows not who will gather them. Partiality is judgment, is not God. Some people ask the secret of our long marriage. We take time to go to a restaurant and 2 times a week. A little candlelight dinner, softness, intimacy. She goes Tuesdays, I go Friday. Happy the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked. One thing about being successful is that has stopped being afraid of dying. Once you are a star, you are dead already. You are embalmed. If you cannot find peace within yourself, it profits not to seek it anywhere. There is singing again on Mount Scopes, and there is rejoicing in the holy city of Jerusalem. Laziness may appear attractive, but work gives satisfaction. Slander is worse than idolatry. Man is capable of perfection because of the power of reasoning which God gave him. The world exists only because of innocent breath of schooling children. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous. What does Asuri resemble? A man bitten by a snake who does not feel the bite until the swelling starts. A tent cannot stand without pegs and cords. The Israel cannot stand without scholars. Too many of us look upon Americans as astrologers. This is a cruel libel, even if it's restrained thoughtlessly by the Americans themselves. Who can find a good wife? Her price is far for words. A man should never stand in a place of danger and expect a miracle to happen to him. What man can live and never behold death? If a man break a light precept, he will end by breaking grape wine. A man who does not lend money on interest, either to a Jew or Gentile, walks with honor. Because of war, old age creeps upon you. O Joshua, after waging war with 31 kings, it is said that Joshua became old and stricken in years. The law is illumination. There are palaces that open only to music. Even a child makes himself known by his acts. Man dies of idleness. In both hospital is no place to be sick. Sayings of the wise are like a north wine. Pleasure to the spirit and cure to the flesh. A man who can't accept criticism can't become great. Did we realize that the meanings of each word we utter, our time would suffice for but a few words? Man is the image of the temple, and his heart is like a holy of holies. Most children threaten at times to run away from home. This is the only thing that keeps some parents going. There shall be one law for the citizens and the strangers who dwell among you. When scholars why wisdom months. Honor your father even if you have to go begging from door to door. Fear and hope must not be overestimated. Anyone who goes to a psychiatrist ought to have his head examined. Let your ears hear what your lips speak. The mother which is not open for a beggar, the door that's not open for a beggar will open for a doctor. There is no single letter in the scriptures whereon 1,000 secrets do not hang. Flattery is permissible only to promote peace. A noble woman who can find more prize than rubies is her kind. Be not a wicked man, for you know not what his end will be. I must say that I find television very educational. The minute somebody turns it on, I go to the library and read a book before a brief steals. He has learned to lie. I must govern the clock, not be governed by it. The wise man says, I will eat to live, and fool says, I will live to eat. A betrothed girl in Jerusalem does not need to adorn herself with the scent of incense. Confession by the defendant is as good as 100 witnesses. But now, when shall I provide for my own household? Also, it is human nature that a man cannot all of a sudden give up all he has grown years to. The telephone is a good way to talk to people without having to offer them a drink. A young man has to live and an old man wants to. There is no worse pride than he who his who flaunts his modesty. Your own life must be considered before your friends. A town without school children is doomed to destruction. A book gives knowledge, but it is life that gives understanding. My mother loved children. She would have given them anything if I had been one. Marriage is not just spiritual communion, it is also remembering to take out the trash. Prayer is greater than sacrifices. The world was pleased for his righteousness' sake to make the teaching greater and glorious. Faith is not a series of theorems, but a way of life. What emotion can do, brains cannot. Each success only buys an admission ticket for a more difficult problem. If the eyes of a bride are beautiful, no need to examine the rest. House and wealth are inherited by fathers, but a wise for life is from the Lord. Shame not the old, we should all be numbered among them. An angry man is no better than a worshipper of idols. If a person meant to commit a sin, the Lord will not consider it till it be committed. One man's candle is light for many. Who pities not mankind, but is known that he is not the seed of our father Abraham. A time to keep silent and time to speak out. Who looks for a faultless friend will have none. Let your neighbor's honor be as dear to you as your own grass, not your horn of a powerful ox. When a friend changes, regard him as an enemy. To pull a friend out of the mire, don't hesitate to get dirty. There's the fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition. Who professes to reform religion is in my eyes as if he sought to cool fire. Rather death than dishonor. Dreams are real. Prayer is the service of the heart. What is a good way to which a man may live? A good heart. Good company saves one from bad deeds. A good makes us forget a bad one, and the other way around. We are generally more convinced by the reasons we discover by our own than by those given to us by others. Man has three friends on whose company he relies. First, wealth, which goes with him only while good fortune lasts. Second, his relatives, they go only as far as the grave leaves him there. The third friend, his good deeds, go with him beyond the grave. Just as the soul fills the body, so God fills the world. Just as the soul bears the body, so God endures the world. Just as the soul sees out is not but not seen, so God sees but is not seen. Hold no man responsible for what he says in his grief. Rather skin a carcass for pay in the public streets than be idly dependent on charity. There are three whose life is one known life. He who lives at another trouble, he whose wife domineers over him, and he who suffers bodily affliction. Whoever destroys a single life is as guilty as though he had destroyed the entire world, and whoever rescues a single life earns as much merit as thoughts he had rescued the entire world. The deeper the sorrow, the less stung it had. Live well, it is the greatest revenge. All the blessings of the house will come through with the life, therefore should her husband honor her. He that gives should never remember, he that receives should never forget. Whoever does not persecute them that persecute him, whosoever takes an offense in silence, he who does good because of love, he who is cheerful under his sufferings. These are the friends of God, and of them the scripture says they shall shine forth like the sun at noontide. Who can protest and does not is an accomplice in the act. Every blade of grass has this angle that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow. The sun sets out without thy assistance. Mention not the blemish, which is thy own in detraction of a neighbor. If thou lacks knowledge, what hast thou then acquired? Hast thou acquired knowledge, what else dost thou want? If you wish to know how much preferable wisdom is to gold, then observe you can change gold, you get silver for it. But your gold is gone. But if you exchange one sort of wisdom for another, you obtain fresh knowledge and at the same time keep what you possessed before. He alone is poor who does not possess knowledge. Beware of too much laughter, for it deadens the mind and produces oblivion. He that is ambitious or famous destroys it. He that increases not his knowledge diminishes it. He that uses a crown of learning as an instrument of gain will pass away. Never expose yourself unnecessarily to danger. A miracle may not save you, and if it does, it will be deducted from your share of luck or merit. Customs are more powerful than laws. A person will be called to account on Judgment Day for every permissible thing he might have enjoyed but did not. Wine nourishes, refreshes, and cheers. Wine is the foremost of medicines. Wherever wine is lacking, medicines becomes necessary. Aha! Understand a man by his deeds and words. The impressions of others lead to false judgment. For the sake of peace, one may lie, but peace itself should never be a lie. He who mixes with unclean things becomes unclean himself. He whose association of pure becomes pure each day. Never expose yourself unnecessarily to danger. A miracle may not save you, and if it does, it will be deducted from the share of the luck of merit. He who can feel ashamed will not readily could do wrong. There is a great difference between the one who feels ashamed before his own soul and one who is only ashamed before his fellow men. Never put thyself in the way of temptation, even David could not resist it. The best conductor of man can adopt in which gains him the esteem of others without depriving him of his own. Man has three friends on whose company he relies. First, wealth, which goes with him only while good fortune lasts. Second, his relatives, they only go as far as the grave, leave him there. The third friend, his good deeds go with him beyond the grave. There are three great things which in great quantity are bad and in little very good. Leaven, salt, and liberality. Be cautious in your intercourse with the great. They seldom confer obligations on their inferiors, but from interested motives. Friendly they appear as long as it serves their turn, but they will render no assistance in time of actual need. Commit a sin twice, and it will not seem to three a sin. The best preacher is the heart, the best teacher is time, and the best book in the world is the best friend is God. Join the company of lions rather than assume the leading among foxes. He who carries out one good deed acquires one advocate in his own behalf, and he who commits one transgression acquires one accuser against himself. Repentance and good works are like the shield against calamity. Who is a wise man? He who learns of all men. 7 things characterize the wise man, and 7 the blockhead. The wise man speaks not before those who are his superiors, either in age or wisdom. He interrupts not others in the midst of their discourse. He replies not hastily. His questions are relevant to the subject, his answers to the purpose. In delivering his sentiments, he takes the first in order first, the last last. When he understands not, he says, I understand not. He acknowledges his error and is open to conviction. The reverse of all these characters rises the blockhead. Until a child is 1 year old, it is incapable of sin. God said, you must teach as I taught without a fee. Humor the son of the poor, for they give science its splendor. Nothing is more becoming a man than silence. It is not the preaching but the practice which ought to be considered as the most important. Profusion of verses should lead to error. When thou reaps thy harvest in the field and hast forgot the sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go back to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, who the fatherless, and for the widow. When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it after thee. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and the widow. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in the heart. Thou shalt not take vengeance. I am the Lord. Thou shalt love thy father as thyself. I am the Lord. I am the Lord my God, thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt and to the house of bondage. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days be long upon the land which the Lord thy God gave thee. Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not be a false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet the neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet the neighbor's wife, nor the manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And we cried unto the Lord thy God of our fathers, and the Lord heard our voice, and saw our affliction and our toil and our oppression. And the Lord brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with great terribleness and with signs and with wonders. And he had brought us into this place and had given us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Neither good nor peace comes of quarreling. Cain killed his brother in a quarrel. Therefore a man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. You shall not take vengeance. If you see your fellow's ox or sheep is straying, and do not ignore it, you must take it back to your fellow. Love thy neighbor as thyself. We shall rise before the aged and show difference to the old. On 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day you shall have the Sabbath of complete rest, holy to the Lord. What does Asuri resemble? A man bitten by a snake who does not heal the bite until the swelling starts. Respect your doctors until you heed them. So great is peace that even if Israel worship idols, yet peace shines among them. God says, I cannot, as it were, wield power over them, because peace prevails there. To hold the rope at both ends, playing both ends against the middle. You cannot make a dog into a lion. You shall not desire your neighbor's house, his field, his manservant, or his maid servant, his ox, his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. You shall not desire the neighbor's house, his field, his manservant, his maid servant, his ox, his ass, or anything that is neighbor's. For the Lord your God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the father upon the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, by showing steadfast love to the thousand generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. Then the Lord God formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of the life, and man became a living being. And the Lord said to Moses, say all the congregation of the people of Israel, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of the God he created man, male, female, he created them. It is easy to be critic, but the only effective critic are those who truly love and show they love those whom they criticize. Winston Churchill's great remark that success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. All the bad things that had happened to him were necessary if the intended outcome was to occur. Power works by division, influence by multiplication. Power, in other words, is a zero-sum game. The more you share, the less you have. Influence is a non-zero-sum game. The more you share, the more you have. A bad penny always turns up. A barking dog never bites. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. A cat may look at the king. A chain is only as strong as the weakest link. A change is as good as the rest. A dog is a man's best friend. A drowning man will clutch at his straw. A fish always rots it from the head down. A fool and his money are soon parted. A friend is need is a friend indeed. A golden key can open any door. A good beginning makes a good ending. A good man is hard to find. A house divided against itself cannot stand. A person is known by the company he keeps. A house is not the home. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. A leopard cannot change the spots. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. A little learning is a dangerous thing. A little of what you fancy does any good. A man is known by his friend. A man who's his own lawyer has a food for his client. A miss is as good as a mind. The new broom sweeps clean. The knot's as good as a wing to a blind horse. A penny saves a penny earned. A picture paints 1,000 was a place for everything in its place. A poor workman always blames his tools. A person is known by the company he keeps. A problem shared is a problem halved. A prophet is not recognized in his own land. A rising tide lifts all boats. A rolling stone gathers no mourns. A soft answer turns away wrath. A stitch in time saves nines. A swam in May is worth a load of hay. A swam in June is worth a silver spoon, but a swam in July is not worth a fly. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. A volunteer is worth 20 pressed men. A washed pot never boils. A woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke. A woman's place is in the home. A woman's work is never done. A word to the wise is enough. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Accidents will happen. Actions speak louder than words. Adversity makes strange bedfellows. After a storm comes a calm. All good things come to those who wait. All good things come to an end. All is grist that comes to the mill. All publicity is good publicity. All roads leads to Rome. All that glitters is not good. All the world loves a lover. All things come to those who wait, all things must pass. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All you need is love. All's fair in love and war. All's for the best in the best of all possible worlds. All's well that ends well. The miss is as good as mine. Wow. Enjoying, right? So beautiful. Beat swords into plowshares. Beauty is in the eye of beholder. Beauty is only skin deep. Beggars should not be choosers. Behind every great man, there's a great woman. Better let than never. Better safe than sorry. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Better to have loved in laws than never to have loved at all. Better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Better to remain silent and to be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. Beware of Greek wearing gifts. Beware of ideas of March. Big fish eats little fish, birds of feather flock together, blessed are the peacemakers, blood is thicker than water, blue are the hills that are far away, boys will be boys, brevity is the soul of weird business, before pleasure, Caesar's wife must be above suspicions, carpe diem, pluck the day, seize the day, charity begins at home, charity covers the multitude of sins, cheaters never win and winners never cheat, cheats never prosper, children and fools tell the truth, children should be seen, not be heard, Christmas comes but once a year, cleanliness is next to godliness, clothes make the man, cold hands, warm heart, comparisons are odious, count your blessings, cowards may die many times before their death. Crime doesn't pay. Cut your coat to suit your cloth. Dead men tell no tales. Devil take the hindmost. Different strokes for different folks. Discretion is the better part of valor. Distance lends an enhancement to the view. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as you would be done by. Don't do unto others as you would have them do to you. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Don't turn your bridges behind you. Don't cast your pearls before swine. Don't change horses in midstream. Don't count your chickens before they are hatched. Don't cross the bridge till you come to it. Don't cut out your nose to spite your face. Don't get mad. Get even. Don't keep a dog and bark yourself. Don't leave your manners to the doorstep. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Don't let the cat out of the bag. Don't let the grass grow under your feet. Don't meet troubles halfway. Don't mix business with pleasure. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put the cart before the horse. Don't put new wine into old bottles. Don't rock the boat. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't spoil the ship for a hopworth of tar. Don't shut that stable door after the horse has bolted. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't throw pearls to swine. Don't teach your grandma to suck eggs. Don't throw baby out with the bath water. Don't trust anyone over 30. Don't try to run before you can walk. Don't try to walk before you can crawl. Don't upset the apple cart. Don't wash the dirty linen in public. Doubt is the beginning, not the end of wisdom. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. East to their own. East is east, west is west, east, west, home's best. East comes, easy go. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Empty vessels make the most noise. Enough is as good as a feast. Enough is enough. Even a worm will turn. Every cloud is a silver lining. Every dog has his day. Every little helps every man for himself. Devil takes the hindmost. Every man has his flaws. Every picture tells a story. Every stick has two heads. Everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Everything comes to him who pays fairly. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Faint heart, never won fairly. Fair exchanges, no robbery. Faith will move mountains. Familiarity breeds contempt. Feed a cold and starve a fever. Fight fire with fire. Fight the good fight. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Find words butter, no parships. First come, first serve. First impressions are the most lasting. First things first. Fish always stink from the head down. Fish and the guest smell after 3 days. Flattery will get you nowhere. Foolish rush is weird and just fear to trade. For everything there's a season. For want of an hill, the shoe was lost. For whatever shoe, the horse was lost. For whatever horse, the man was lost. For want is forearmed. Forgive and forget, fortune favors the brave. From the sublime to the ridiculous was only one step. Genius is an infinite capacity for taking pains. Genius is 1% inspiration, 90%, 9% perspiration. Give a man a fish and you will feed him for a day. Give a dog a bad name and hang him. Give a man enough rope and he will hang himself. Give credit where credit is due. Give the devil his due. Go the extra mile. God helps those who help themselves. Good fences make good neighbors. Good talk saves the food. Good things come in small packages. Good things come to those who pay. Great minds think alike. Half a loaf is better than no bread. Handsomeness and handsome thirst. Hard cases make bad law. Hard work never did anyone any harm. Hence makes best. He goes borrowing, goes sorrowing. He who can does. He who cannot teaches. He who fights and runs away may live to fight another day. He who hesitates is lost. He who laughs fast laughs longest. He who lives by the sword shall die by the sword. He who pays the piper calls the tune. He who sups with the devil should have a long spoon. Hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. Hence, sight is always 20/20. History repeats itself. Hold with the head and burn, and run with the hounds. You can't. Home is where the heart is. Honesty is the best policy. Hope springs eternal. Horses for courses. If anything can go wrong, it will. If a job is worth doing, it is worth doing well. If at first you don't succeed, try again. If God has meant us to fly, He would have given us wings. If it didn't, and if ifs and ands were pots and pans, there would be no work for tinkers. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If life deals you a lemon, make a lemonade. If the cap fits, wear it. If the mountain won't come to Mohammed, then Mohammed must go to the mountain. If the shoe fits, wear it. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. If you build it, they will come. If you can't be good, be careful. If you can't beat them, join them. If you can't stand the heat, get out of kitchen. If you lie down with dogs, you will get up with fleas. If you pay peanuts, you get donkeys. If you want a thing done well, do it yourself. Ignorance is bliss. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. In for penny, in for a pound. In the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. In the midst of life, we are in death. Into every life, a little rain must fall. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. It goes without saying, it is best to be on the safe side. It is better to give than to receive. It is easy to be wise after the event. It never rains, but it pours. It takes a thief to catch a thief. It takes all sorts of to make a world. It takes one to know one. It takes two to tango. It's all grist to the mill. It's an ill wind that blows no one any good. It's better to give than receive. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. It's better to light the candle than to curse the darkness. It's better to travel hopefully than to arrive. It's never too late. It's no use crying over spilled milk. It's no use locking the stable door after the house was bolted. It is the early bird that catches the worm. It's the empty can that makes the most noise. It's the singer, not the song. It's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. Jack of all trades, master of